Hi there, and here we are with another MasterGMAT sentence correction question. And I have to admit this one's a bit tricky, so you're going to have to be a little bit careful. So for those of you who'd like to give it a go, please do so by pausing the recording, trying it. Take as much time as you need here, but give it a good go, and when you're ready to listen to the explanations, unpause it to listen to the explanations. So go ahead and pause the recording now if you want to try. Okay, welcome back. I hope that wasn't too confusing. This is definitely considered an advanced question because it does deal with several elements at the same time. Now, of course, the first thing to do is to check for anywhere between 0 and 2 grammatical errors in the underlined portion of the sentence, and to look for certain clues that tell you what you're supposed to look for exactly, what kind of errors you're supposed to look for. Once you've studied with us enough, you know that there are certain stop signs that help you determine what it is you're testing, and one of them, take a look at this such as over here. Well, you're going to have an example, right? Having small jaws, comma, the late eruption of teeth, comma, and a tendency for playfulness. Right away, we're starting with a little bit of a list here, right, of 2 or more things. So we have to check parallelism. That's the first thing we need to do. So we see that the first item, having, is an unconjugated ing verb, basically, and that the other 2, the late eruption of teeth and a tendency for playfulness, are pure nouns. Well, you can't actually have that in a parallelism. Having small jaws should not be in that form. It should not be in ing form with the other 2 that are proper nouns. So we can already see that that's one of the mistakes. However, there is something else to look at over here, and that other something, or that other stop sign, take a look. The term. Whenever you see the words, the term, or the word, you also have to make sure that it's not coupled with is or are. Why? Because it's illogical. Now, why is it illogical? Bear with me over here. It's illogical because the pronoun which, right over here, refers to the term neoteny, right? Not to neoteny itself. It is incorrect to say that a word or a term is the same thing as what it refers to. I'll give you an example, and how are we going to do that? Take a look. Let's click on this for a second. Obviously, it's going to take us, or it took us much longer than 2 minutes and 45, but just to give you an idea of the explanations, all right? It's incorrect to say the word precipitation is not only rain, it is also snow and hail. Precipitation is not rain, right? A word refers to something or describes something or means something. So it's more correct to say the word precipitation does not only mean rain, it also refers to snow and hail. And this is what we call a stop sign. So as soon as you see words like the word or term, and then it's followed by a which or it is or are or so on and so forth, usually is, then you know you need to check. You can't just say the word is. The word refers to, the word describes. Okay, so we obviously don't just give you the answer choice, we give you the little hint. Hopefully you've learned your little lesson and it's jogged your memory a little bit. You get to try again. So this is blocked out right away. Let's look at B. What happens in B? Small jaws, the late eruption of teeth, and a tendency. Well, that's pretty nice. Everything's a noun there. So basically the parallelism was fixed. Can be explained with the term neoteny, which refers to the retention. Well, here the refers was put in, and it correctly refers to the term neoteny. Okay, so, or rather the term neoteny refers to. So that's okay for now. Let's keep it. Since this is a tricky question, we do need to look a little bit more forward over here. So what do we have in C? Small jaws, the late eruption of teeth, and a tendency to be playful. Okay, so this does correct the original parallelism mistake. That's great. Instead of saying having small jaws, now we have small jaws. And it also corrects the actual logical mistake by adding the which refers to over here. However, pay attention. What was left out? You see explained over here? Well, in the original sentence, you had can be explained. By getting rid of the can be, you create an actual fragment because the subject of the sentence, which is puzzling elements, is left lacking a conjugated verb, right? So if you actually went all the way, you've got to pay attention to what's non-underlined. Puzzling elements of human anatomy and behavior explained with the term, with the term neoteny. That doesn't make sense. Can be explained makes sense, as in the original sentence, and that's why we can get rid of C over here. You have an actual fragment lacking conjugated verb. Let's go to D. Now this is a bit weird. Okay, this is also grammatically incorrect and illogical. Now, tending to be playful and having small jaws and teeth, well, this actually does something with the parallelism. It fixes it because it gives us the ing verbs, right, the tending, and having small jaws and teeth. So everything is okay in terms of the parallelism. They just changed the forms around a little bit, right? So they changed the list of 3 items with 1 verb, having, and the 2 nouns, eruption and tendency, into a list of 2 verbs. However, what happens? It creates a new logical mistake because what happens? Only teeth can be said to erupt late. Jaws don't erupt. I don't know whether you caught that, but look, tending to be playful and having small jaws and teeth that erupt, right? It's not the small jaws that erupt. It's just these over here, the teeth. So that little change just changes the meaning and makes it completely illogical. Okay? That's one reason why you have that mistake. Originally, in the sentence, we saw that we had a mistake with the refers and so on and so forth. Okay, this we have okay, but it's wrong to say which means to retain, because look at what comes after, the word of. Which means to retain of features is actually something that doesn't fit into the original sentence. You can't say which means to retain of. Before the of, you actually need a noun or noun replacement. Okay, so we get rid of this. And in E, what happens in E? Well, in E, small jaws, late erupting teeth, and a tendency for playfulness. Okay, that's okay. We've changed everything to what it's supposed to be. However, can be explained with the term neoteny, which means the retaining of the immature specimen. Well, you have to be careful when things change forms, like suddenly retention becomes retaining. We have to ask ourselves this question, okay? Do we need to actually replace that noun into this kind of noun, the retaining of? In fact, in the GMAT, it's preferable not to. If you have a noun already that is not an ing, then you stick with that. Okay, you can use a noun replacement, but only when there's no actual noun for that word. In this case, we already have the noun retention. It's the proper noun for that word. It's not that the retaining of is wrong, but it's just not as correct as the retention of. And that's why this is wrong as well. Therefore, what do we do over here? Let's go back to B. Click on that, and of course you get a nice little explanation. Wow, that was a lot of information. I hope that wasn't overly complicated, and I hope you understood it. You can always go back and check yourself. It's an important little question over here, all right? And it's well worth your while to give it a look a couple of times at least. Okay, so until next time, good luck.